So here's the question. As a real estate investor, how do you build a business that you're excited to show up to every day, while you constantly grow your stream of passive income that you and your family can depend on for life, without having to leave your computer or even live somewhere that houses are affordable? That's the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. Welcome to the Virtual Real Estate Investing Podcast with your host, Brian Elwood.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to episode 2 of the Virtual Real Estate Investing Podcast. Just driving home from the gym today. It's a nice sunny day in Denver. Going to be pretty warm today. Going to get up to about 80, which is pretty warm for here this time of year. We literally got snow probably a week ago. I think I was snowboarding less than 2 weeks ago. So the weather's great out here, but yeah, it can be a little volatile. So I want to ask you guys, are you still, as real estate investors, are you still calling sellers? Are you still going on appointments? Is your phone still blowing up when you're at the dinner table with your significant other? Are you still having to do follow-up countless times, trying to chase down people who said they were going to meet you, said they were going to do a deal with you? Is that how you're spending your time? Because if you are, then there's good news. You've got the opportunity to sort of explode from where you're at right now. And the way that you would do that is by replacing yourself in those roles. You essentially need to fire yourself from that job and hire an acquisition manager to do it for you. When we hired our first acquisition manager, and there was finally somebody in between us and all of the phone calls and all of the sellers and the appointments and the contracts and the getting the title clear with the title company, scheduling the closing, all that. Once that was put onto somebody else, and we were able to focus on strategy and marketing, and that somebody else, our acquisition guy, was able to do that all day, go on appointments all day, every day. Our business literally tripled in 1 year. I think we went from making about $300,000 or $400,000 in gross revenue for the year to right at $1 million. It was literally 11 months, when this growth happened. And the main reason was just that we had a guy in front of people making offers all week long, every single day, whereas we couldn't do just that. We kind of had to cherry pick and wait for the lay down deals that were, going to be more worth our time. We were in the same ballpark as the seller on price, but that's not the way to do it. And you've got to hire an acquisition guy. When we hired Joe McCall to be our coach years ago, that was the first thing he said that we absolutely had to do. And he was right. And I'm so convicted of this need in people's real estate businesses that I wrote an entire book about it. And in the book, I tell you exactly what type of person to look for, what job ad to run, how to do the interviews, how to make that whole process nice and streamlined, where you're not looking at 100 different resumes, how to train the person, how to pay them, how to onboard them in your company, and then how to manage them ongoing. I teach you how to pay them only when you get paid versus paying them a salary, which is absolutely what you should do. They should be making you money, not costing you money. And a lot more. There's a lot of sales strategies and ninja kind of tactics in there that we use. I don't really hold anything back in this book. And it's free. That's the best part. All I ask is that you pay for the cost of shipping. The book's called Fire Yourself. And you can get it at fireyourself.net. At least go to the website, watch the video, kind of look at what the book contains. It's cheap, and it's the free resource I decided to give away because I thought it would be the most powerful for your real estate investing businesses. It's a simple thing, hiring your first sales guy. But if you haven't done that, then, sitting there and trying to tweak your postcard a little bit is not going to make a difference for you. All right. So that being said, today I told you guys I would kind of fill you in on the epiphany that I had when I got my first deal, when I was paid that first bird dog fee or finder's fee. Like I said in the last episode, I was paid the $1,000 for finding my mentor a deal that he bought. And when I picked that check up into my hands, a light bulb went off. And I think my mentor even said something like, what if you did this all the time? Imagine if you did this all the time. Because I had only spent maybe a total of 3 or 4 hours of actual time finding that deal, from talking to the seller, scheduling the appointment, going over there, getting the contract signed. It wasn't a ton of time, clock time. I made $1,000. So, that's a rate of what? $300 an hour. And I'm sitting there, I'm currently working at a grocery store at this time, making $9 an hour. And then all of a sudden I just made $300 an hour out of nowhere. And I was really curious. I was like, how did that happen? And what I kind of came to realize, and it hit me in the head like a ton of bricks, because I had been doing the wrong thing for 15 years at that point. I had had nothing but just jobs where I worked for other people. And so when I got that check and I made money at a rate of $300 an hour, and I realized that I was capable of that everybody's capable of that, I had the aha moment. And that aha was basically that we are always paid based upon the value that we add. We are never paid based upon the time that we commit. And I know a lot of you are saying, well, that's not true. I have a job that's hourly or it's salary. And I get paid $18 an hour to be at this spot. It is time-based. Or I make $60,000 a year, so I got to work the full year to make the $60,000. It's all time-based. But at a deeper level, that's not actually true. What actually happened there is that your boss or company owner, whoever, decided the rate that role that you're in was worth ahead of time. They decided, more importantly, they decided the value that you can add in that role ahead of time. If you make $60,000 a year, then they think that what you're doing is worth about $60,000 a year. That's the amount of value you can add to the company. If you make $18 an hour, they've decided that, that's what this job is worth. And you can do it awesome or terrible. You'll still make $18. At least for a little while. You might get fired or get a small raise at best. And then there's government jobs, which, those are the saddest example here, because it's some of the most impactful roles, like teachers and whatnot, and they're making $35,000 a year. The government's basically pre-decided, the value of that position. And it's ridiculous. Obviously, we know that people in those jobs add way more value than they're worth. So that's the one where it's probably skewed the most. But in a lot of the other jobs, like people that work for me, I feel like the value that, they add compared to what they get paid is correct. I feel like it's in alignment. And I'm not just going to pay them 2 or 3 or 4 times what I am now for no reason, unless they started to add a tremendous amount of value and justified that, right? But I'm probably sort of an anomaly because I'm an entrepreneur with a small business. If you work for a big company, the best you can get is that promotion where you're going to make $10,000 more, a year. And then 2 or 3 more years go by, you get another promotion, another whatever, 10, 15, 20 grand a year. So the ceiling on the value that you can add in the job world is low. I mean, it's like there's a glass ceiling like right above your head all the time. However, in the entrepreneurial world, there is no ceiling. It is completely removed. You can make $1 million in a day. Literally, entrepreneurs do it all the time. I was able to make a lot more money, as an entrepreneur than I ever would have been able to make in the job world. I mean, I would have had to become the CEO of a large company. At my age, that would have taken my whole life. It wouldn't be even been possible. But with that, with that bird dog deal that I told you about, where I got the $1,000 for the 3 hours of time, those investors, the mentor, that paid me that, did not care at all whether that deal took me 3 hours or 30 minutes or 3 days or 3 weeks or 3 months. It was worth $1,000 to him, right? So the value is still preset on that deal, but the difference is that I could, I could basically make that deal happen in as little or as much time as I was capable of doing. So if I found a way to find 10 of those deals in 3 hours, instead of one, then my rate of pay would rise to $3,000 an hour. And in the entrepreneurial world, there's no rules, there's no boss, or, there's no job that you can do anything. You can find a way to make that 10 deals or whatever you're going after a reality. You have to just piece something together. You have to put a plan in place and take action. And that's just the crazy thing about the difference between being an entrepreneur and being an employee, to me, and to me, I think a lot of people think that being an entrepreneur is risky and having a job is secure. But I actually think it's the opposite, especially kind of how the trend is going. Right now, something like 34% of all people are either entrepreneurs or they are contracted employees, like, somebody, or like freelance type stuff where they might be a writer or a designer, and you could find them on Fiverr or Upwork or, one of those sites. They work for themselves. They just don't really have a formalized business. It's just more like, they get paid by the job, but they're independent. They're 1099 employees. They don't have any boss or anyone to answer to. And so 34% right now, and that number is predicted to rise to 50% by the year 2020. Very interesting. And the internet is a big catalyst for this whole thing because it allows people to learn and then execute on ways to make money for themselves. You could just decide, I'm going to become a search engine optimization expert and dominate Google. Go to the library, or, you don't even need to go to the library now. Just read every book you can find on that topic. Buy all the products that are already out there on that topic from all the other experts, and then sort of synthesize all that into your own product. That's kind of like what you think is the best of all of the other ones, kind of just culminated into one. And then you go out there and you market yourself and sell yourself as an expert. And as long as you get results for people, you can make shitloads of money. That's the key. If you can get results for other people and they'll give you testimonials and there's proof, you'll be easily making 6 figures in no time. Try doing that with a college degree. I mean, that's 4 years and 90 grand in student loan debt. And then you graduate making $40,000 a year in a cubicle or something, man. And I know you might say, well, I want to get my college degree and then become an entrepreneur, but I don't really even think that's necessary. Your college degree, I mean, there's certain certifications, like if someone was going to, write about nutrition and health, they should become like a certified nutritionist or a dietitian, or an MD even. I mean, you probably don't need to go that far, but there are certain entrepreneurial endeavors where you have a lot more credibility if you're actually a doctor, etc. You know what I'm getting at, but most of the roles that does not apply. So yeah, I just wanted to, we're out of time here today, but think about the value you're currently adding to the world, and then think about the income you're currently making. And, see if you can be really honest with yourself about, whether or not those two kind of match each other. 90% of the time they do. Unless, like I said, you're in a role like a teacher, which is just grossly undervalued and kind of, stuck because the government controls it. Most of the time, the income, whatever your bank account looks like, is equivalent to the amount of value that you're currently adding to the world. And so if your bank account's not where you want it to be, the next question you ask is, how can I add more value? How can I solve a problem for other people? That's what you have to think about. You don't think about what's going to make me the most money. The best businesses solve problems, and they make people's lives better. They add a lot of value to people's lives. Bottom line. Thank you guys for listening. Again, go to fireyourself.net. Get your free copy of my new book. I think you're really going to like it. It's loaded with value. There's really no fluff in there. I'm pretty proud of it. It's the first book I've ever written, and I think it's going to really change people's lives and their businesses. So until next time, guys, I'll see you on the other side. Peace.
Want more? Get your free copy of Brian's book that is changing real estate businesses everywhere. Just go to www.fireyourself.net. Also, register for your free virtual real estate investing online masterclass at virtualinvestingclass.com.